stayed until you guys went to executive session.
I couldn't remember. I apologize.
The Wheeling Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, August 10th, 2017 is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Villanova.
Here.
Commissioner Creech.
Present.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Kalis.
Here.
Commissioner Powers is here. Commissioner Dorbian is absent with prior notice, and Chairman Rafato.
Here. Citizen concerns and comments. No one is here tonight. Thank you. Consent items, we have none. Items for review, docket number SCBA 1730 Heritage Park, 333 West Dundee Road, appearance approval of monument signs. Brooke?
I have nothing to add.
Nothing?
I just invite the petitioners to
Mr.
come
Raffel?
forward.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry Raffel, Superintendent of Planning for the Wheeling Park District, 333 West Dundee Road in Wheeling, and we're here before you tonight for appearance review of signage for Heritage Park. And I just want to kind of open up with a couple of items. You've seen the materials we've submitted, but based on with the information we've submitted, we've developed a hierarchy of signs and information at Heritage Park. And you can kind of see with our logo and our brand and our colors. And in the material we've presented, each sign has a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary piece of information on it. And those are kind of identified on the sign, primarily by the location of the information on the sign and the size of the information on the sign. And we're really trying to get this through the signage and every mailer and everything you see about Heritage Park. We're trying to promote this brand. So almost when you see that Heritage Park, Wander, Play, Discover, and then the logo with it, you identify Heritage Park and the Wheeling Park District, just like you would see the arches and identify McDonald's to a more recreational point of view. And if you'll notice on, like I said, in Heritage Park, that's what we're trying to develop. So you'll see throughout the entire tagline for Heritage Park, and then again you'll see the Wheeling Park District, and then the items on the columns themselves are the icons for the elements or the facilities in the park. And they're highlighted to a lesser degree because people looking at these signs are not necessarily looking where is that facility, but we want them to know that it's in Heritage Park. Previously, for those of you who have been in Wheeling for a long time, the facilities in Heritage Park, the Family Aquatic Center and the Community Recreation Center, were not always identified as part of Heritage Park. They were identified as something different. So here now we're trying to show that it's all Heritage Park. And based on that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has on the material we submitted. I might add also we've got Matt Webby, our Deputy Director, is here, Jan Bukes, Executive Director, and Sue Stein, our Board President, are here also.
The big guns.
Yes.
Just so everyone that's watching, if you could relate the signs to where the location is at. You know, you did a nice, one of the drawings we had, yeah, this one, the locations. So just show them and where, just say where, you know, you have the three different types of signs and where they're going to be here, just so everybody knows that's watching it.
Okay, the A sign, if we can go back to the rendering maybe, the A sign, the one on the top, is the primary entry into the park, and that is located in that half circle on Wolf Road that aligns with Highland. So you see, yeah, right there, A. The A1 sign is on Wolf Road also. That's the one in the, on my lower left. That one is at the entrance to the parking lot on Wolf Road. And then the A2 sign, which is on the lower right, I mean, it's a smaller scale, is located at the pedestrian entrance into Heritage Park off of Jeffrey.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, questions? There we go. Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The electronic sign, how often and what kind of messages are going to be on that particular sign?
Well, how often is based on your code, that's how many times it can scroll and how many times it can contain the same information. It's primarily events that are happening in the park. It's not a jumbotron by any stretch of the imagination, but it's primarily to identify what is happening in the park.
My concern is that the sign is going to be facing east and west, of course, so that the traffic can read the sign. It's right in a crosswalk, and it's right across from the grammar school or middle school. That's right there. I wonder if you've taken that into consideration.
We're out there to locate it. The other thing is, based on the location of the crosswalk and the school, we've met with IDOT to kind of hear the improvements to Wolf Road. And the hope is that the crosswalk can also be readjusted based on where it should be and locating it into the primary pedestrian entrance into Heritage Park. Other than that, we don't really see it as being a hazard at all, neither does IDOT.
Well, my only concern is that, we have restrictions about being on cell phones and text messaging and everything else in school zones, and I'm just curious about how they felt about that.
When I met with them, they didn't have any concerns about locating it there.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. I shared the same concern as Commissioner Creech. Being in a school zone, just want to make sure that this isn't too distracting for drivers because they're distracted enough. So pretty much just going to be messages similar to what's on the sign out here.
Primarily, we're
text and...
Yeah, we've got a little bit more capabilities on this particular sign. It's a newer model. It's a higher resolution, so we do have additional capabilities on it. But it's primarily just, the events that are happening in the park.
And what about the brightness of it? How close is it to the nearest home? I'm seeing that it's on the north side of that driveway entrance.
Yeah, it's on the north side. I think the other one, the latest one I submitted which is more, that one, if you look at the one in the center there, it's 15 feet from the drive.
Okay.
And
So, yeah, it's a
it's
good
pretty far
distance.
from the home.
Okay. Because brightness can be a factor for that homeowner. Just out of curiosity, was IDOT against putting a crosswalk more in line with Highland that would line up with your pedestrian entrance?
Actually, they weren't. They were very receptive to
Because
it.
we've got that solid guardrail there. And
Yeah, well, again, this is based on the improvements. It's not something we would do now, but based on the improvements they plan at Wolf Road, they've asked, we wrote to them and then met with them on where we'd like to see the crosswalk there. And just long story short, they were receptive to it, and we need to do some homework on it. They'd like to see us do some counts, those type of things.
So there may be one more in line with Highland?
They were receptive to that, again, after the improvements, and we're currently communicating with them as they go through the improvements with Baxter Woodman, and I think the village is involved with that also.
Okay. What's the overall size of the one with the message board? I didn't see it in our packet.
It's the same as the primary entry. It's just literally the message board is substituted for the panel that says Heritage Park. So the overall size is about 11 feet 8 inches long by 8 feet high.
Okay. That's all I had, sir.
Commissioner Lenova.
Just have one question. All three of them will be electronic or just one?
Just one.
Just one, okay. That's all I have. All others were concerned by answer.
Commissioner Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will any of the signs be illuminated at all at night?
Well,
Just was curious.
the-
The reader board, obviously,
Yeah.
but what about the sign on the street, the side street by the houses and the main sign in the horseshoe?
The one in the street by the houses is not intended to be illuminated.
Okay.
The one in the horseshoe area is conduit will be placed. The intention is to have that lit, more of a uplighting as opposed to illuminated like a message board, but it will be
Okay.
lit. And in fact, when we did the Heritage Park Boardwalk and the lighting on the boardwalk, conduit was put in place there extending out, so we would have those capabilities.
Great. You have a lot of landscaping going in. How do you guys plan on keeping that water? Do you go around with water trucks? How do you do that?
Yeah, we water, with water, whatever we need to do to keep our plant material looking good and healthy like we do at all of our parks.
Okay. In the packet, just from my knowledge, it said signs panels to be mounted, it says steel beams and tubing matching their Heritage Park shelter. What shelter is that? Is that on the east side of the lake or what? What color? I'm trying to imagine the color.
Actually, I think the color you see, it's hard to translate between what I'm seeing on paper and what you're seeing there, but it's kind of a darker rust color.
Okay.
And the one on the east side of the lake and the west side of the lake have it's the same beams.
So it's like the band shelter and stuff
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
Yeah. You see them kind of under the epic deck, you see those beams.
That's fine. I have nothing further.
Commissioner Kalisz.
Hello. So the work that IDOT is planning for Wolf Road, I'm not familiar, I'm a newer member here, but the work they're planning, what if the signs need to move? Is that all been sketched out of like what if they expand the road, or I don't know what they're doing with Wolf, but is that a possible concern that they're not going to be in a position if they alter Wolf Road in the future?
And we've taken that into account with our placement of the signs.
Okay.
We're well back of the right-of-way, and in seeing the drawings, their work does not extend beyond the right-of-way. And then just also to note, should for any reason IDOT damage these signs, they're required to repair
Okay.
or replace them.
Okay. That's it for me.
That's the Illinois Department of Transportation, right? The ones that aren't paying their bills right now?
Well, I should have put the caveat when I say
Yeah.
improvements.
They'll be liable for them, but
Yeah.
not.
And the improvements are conditional too, so.
Right, yeah. Oh, gosh. So I just have one question, just one clarification. The A1 sign, is that on the north or south side of the entranceway?
The A1
A1.
sign?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on the north side.
North side.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit, I think on that drawing it showed, on that drawing it showed on the
South
south
side,
side, but the
right.
detailed one where it showed on the north side, and that's where it's actually going.
Can we just make that clarification? I mean, if, just
I
to.
think it is noted
Okay.
adequately in this plan because it
Okay,
shows
cool.
the location
Yeah,
in
because I was-
reference to the driveway.
I was looking at this A1, and when you said that it was on the north side, I'm looking at this south side. The landscaping looks wonderful. It's really, really great. Just curious, why, and I'm okay with the locations of the sign. Why wouldn't you have put the reader board in the horseshoe area? Just curious. Because it's more of a center type area, just
Yeah.
wondering.
Well, I think it's because we want it to be where people are actually, entering into the park, as opposed to where, people are going to have a hard time seeing it as they're coming down Wolf Road.
Right, yeah, okay, I was just curious. All right, good, all right. I have nothing else. Nice-looking signs. When are you going to start construction?
As soon as we can get the permit.
Okay.
When the rain stops.
And, yeah, right. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Powers. Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers votes yes. Commissioner Panova?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Kalisz?
Yes.
And Chairman Rafato?
Yes,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
You'll have one thing to sign. It's actually over here, Larry. We've got the printer over here now. Sign those and take one for you and one is for us. That's yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? Okay. Calling docket numbers PC 17-14 and SCBA 17-31. Burger King, 425 West Dundee Road. Site plan and appearance approval of building and site modifications and SCBA 1731. Appearance approval of wall signs. Brooke? Anything?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, great. Is a petitioner here? You're the last one here, so we would assume it was you.
Process of elimination.
Right. Could you give your name and business address, please?
Tracy Willie from Warren Johnson Architects at 19 North Greeley Street, Palatine, Illinois,
you spell-
60067.
Spell your last name.
Willie.
Okay, thank you. The floor is yours to explain what you're going to be doing.
We are doing a remodel of the existing Burger King at 425 West Dundee. I did bring finished samples per your request. What we are doing is updating the site plan, basically restriping. We are redoing the drive-through lane to make it a little more easier for the driver, and we are getting rid of the long, wide, extensive curb in front of the drive-through window and just making it shorter. They're having a hard time putting the stuff out the window. And then regarding the building, we are updating the finishes, adding tower elements at the entries, and then on the inside, we are renovating the customer areas only.
So why don't you go through, let's start with the building structure and go through, you said you have samples.
Yes.
So explain where the samples will be based upon, is this probably a good drawing to use, based upon where, where the materials will be on
Yes.
this?
And then do you want me to bring the samples up before I?
Sure, you can bring them out as you're showing them as to where they're going to be on the building. And then to preface that, if you can explain what you're going to be doing to the building in preparation for doing all the rehab work, the reno.
Anywhere there's existing brick, it's being painted with a new color. And anywhere that there used to be the wood siding, it is being taken off and put this Nichiha panel that I'm going to bring up.
Okay,
So these are the tower elements are made out of this. It's like a hardy board. It's supposed to look like cedar. Those are anywhere you see the big towers over like the entrances and at the drive-through. That's that material. And on the top, basically from around 9 feet and up, anywhere there was a wood siding, we are putting another hardy board. And it'll be this exact color also. That's the top part of the walls. Not on the towers, just on the rest of the building.
sorry, it's going that way.
The bottom, basically wainscot level of the brick is going to be painted this color. Anywhere from like 3 foot and below would be that color. And then there are a few elements.
Commissioner Creech, could we have that one back this way? It didn't go,
It only went one way?
it only went one way.
That's Monterey Cliffs?
Monterey Cliffs.
Cliffs.
This is that the color? Tanner's taupe, is that the color?
Yes, that's a Burger King custom
Tanner's
color.
taupe.
Tanner's taupe. Tanners.
And where is this paint part going to be?
Anywhere 3 feet and below, like the wainscot level of the building is going to be that color. That's all the lower half, and then the upper half is the color of that Nichiha panel right there. And then I brought the tile, which is in the corner tower, is this red tile. That's only in one tower, that's on the, orientate myself. The north, so that would be, northeast has a corner tower that is getting the red tile in between the cedar. And then I did bring photos of other ones we've done, which
I think do we have them in the packet?
I thought I.
We have them here.
And then anywhere on the elevation where we have to put in a new bottom half, we are using this material, which will be painted so that it replicates the brick look on the existing building. And then that will be painted the Monterey Cliffs.
Okay. I probably didn't send it this way either. So what do you consider a tower?
Over the entrances, like on the north
If you're looking
elevation,
at this picture right now,
it would be the tower on the left that has the red tile, and then there's a tower around the corner at that entrance. Those are what they consider their towers, and those, they draw attention to the entries and the drive-throughs.
I see one.
is there?
Yeah, but they're going to be brown, right?
Sure. Is there anything else that you would like to describe?
Finish-wise, that's pretty much it. They are the addition of the canopies, which are the silver awnings that are on there. They are all now closed. They put matching panels inside. They are not open anymore. Burger King has changed that. They want them all solid so that you nothing can penetrate through them. So that's the one change in the picture. They were noted correctly on what I submitted, but at least for that picture, they're all closed. You can't see through them. And then pretty much, yeah, it will be very similar to that one that's pictured there.
Excuse me. Now, where does this brick face
That
go?
on the elevations, anywhere where it says Nichiha fiber cement brick panels, it's EB1AG. It's basically underneath windows. We put that, and then we painted the Monterey Cliffs so that it duplicates the brick that's already on the building.
Okay.
Did you guys see this down there?
Yep.
Yes.
Let me see. I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions, so if there's nothing else, I'll start with Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Well, actually, some of my questions are already answered as far as the building materials. How weatherproof are these fiber cement brick panels?
They're very sturdy. They've been using them even before I started doing the remodels, and the only maintenance issue will be if somebody happens to chip it with either something with something metal, they'll have to go back and repaint it. Other than that, there's really no upkeep, especially the towers. It stays looking the same brown. There's really no weathering issues that we've seen. They're very happy with the product.
Because some earlier versions of fiber panels tended to swell up and...
Yeah, and I think they got away from the EFIS drive-it aspect of them, and now that they're literally come in these panels, they don't seem to have an issue with using them.
Okay, that's really all I had.
Commissioner Powers.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this is basically the typical remodel, and then Can I ask if there were any new ones that were going to be, any new Burger Kings that were going to go, do they basically fit it the same way?
Yes, they all pretty much look the same. There have been some in the past where we've had to change some of the finishes. For instance, Munster, Indiana did not want any of the tower elements to be the cedar. We had to use a stone, like a face stone, and then that was the only one that was really different. Otherwise, we pretty much used the same. There have been some areas where we did not paint the brick, because, like Naperville didn't want the brick to be painted, so we had to go in and leave that the same color that it is, and then leave the brick the color that was on the building originally. So those look a little different because the brick has been all different colors. So
Okay.
it just basically depends on the city we're in and the code. We've had to adapt a couple of them.
So there is some flexibility in that, a little bit?
Yeah, we have some other options. If there's a certain material that's not well-liked, we can definitely adapt.
Okay, and then what color is the trash enclosure going to be painted?
They typically like to match the building, so the lower half, the same exact height, will be the dark brown, and then the lighter will be the lighter color, basically to match the building. And it also depends on where it's located in regards to the building. With this one being basically across the drive-through lane, they'll literally match the same, they'll match it.
And I was thinking, you have no reason to like put any bollards anywhere on the site?
If there's a need for them, we do. A lot of the bollards are existing to remain, and they scrape, sand them, paint them black, make sure they're plumb. And then we've had to add a couple of them if the towers seem to get a little too close to the curbs.
Okay.
But this location, I have to,
I don't know if there's any existing bollards, but
we add them at the order confirmation unit. There's always a new one there, and there's a new one at the clearance post at the drive-through entrance.
Is that on the site plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's-
And then this one, just looking at it, I don't believe we're adding any other ones.
Okay. Obviously, I guess, never got the cross-access agreement with the town center, so you're going with the solid fence on the south side of the property, is that right?
The owner just said to replace exactly what was there because it's in bad condition, so we noted it to be basically match what was there.
What kind, well,
It's a wood privacy fence.
I think I would like to see cedar, I don't know. The fence, I'd like to see a board-on-board cedar fence like we've done, but I guess that could be up for,
We can
Yeah.
can ask about it.
yep.
Excuse me, is that detail provided in the plans? I know these
It's on
plans are extremely
SP3. It
detailed.
doesn't necessarily call out, it's just a typical detail that our landscaper provides. It is a wood fence, eared, 1x6 eared board with a top and a bottom rail. If you would like it a certain material, I can definitely add that to my drawings.
There is a privacy fence detail on sheet SP3 of your packet.
What page is that?
That is page 20.
30.
30, yeah, 30.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not, we typically do cedar, but I don't know, I guess we'll
can ask.
take consensus, that's fine.
We don't take censuses.
Consensus, sorry about that.
We're all here.
The one problem I have is it's kind of scary is the painting of the brick. We've had other buildings here where we've had painted brick and we've had to go back and, like redo it, so I don't know, I mean, stuff fades, it wears, I mean, how sturdy is painted brick on some of the other stuff you've done? 'Cause that, to me, that's, I don't know, I don't want to see it get faded, I wanted to see it stay, but how long does something like that last?
Maintenance-wise, I don't know. That is the only item that I know that the contractor has had to go back and upkeep, but it's not, it's usually over 5-6 years they'll have to go back, and it'll just be a matter of the regional manager or someone going out there and saying, we need to touch this up or things like that.
Okay.
When they paint the cedar board that you have, the EB1AG, that seems to stay a lot longer than just painting the brick. That doesn't seem to wear, but the reason why they started painting the brick on a lot of these is because the existing brick was very bad looking, and instead of tearing the wall completely down, they've just been painting it, so.
Okay. Last question I really have is the condition of the parking lot. How, are you going to do any grinding of that over laying asphalt over it? Because the parking lot is really in bad shape.
This one, the owner wanted to do a complete asphalt overlay, so they'll grind it down and do the entire parking lot, which is, we're going to be providing civil drawings for that as well. But yeah, they're aware that the parking lot needs to be completely redone.
Okay. You plan on staying open while this is all done?
They will stay open until they start to do the tower at the drive-through or any work by the drive-through, then they will close. Otherwise, the drive-through is the only item that's open. The store completely closes, but the employees will use the drive-through window and that's it.
Okay.
And usually the closing of the drive-through window is anywhere from 2 days to a week, and they try to get it done. Because they're also doing the bathrooms and things like that, so.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also had a little concern about the fence in the parking lot because it's in such a wide open space between the Metro parking and the parking for the Burger King itself. I would like to see, of course, cedar for sure, since it only says wood. I also would like to see it be a little huskier than what you're calling out here. I'd like to see maybe 5/4 inch thick 1x6s instead of the regular 3/4 inch. And maybe 2x6 top, middle, and bottom rails rather than 2x4. Just to give it a better chance, because there's going to be a lot of wind whipping through there and snow and being pushed up against it and everything else. So I was a little concerned about that.
Okay.
The other concern I had was the bike rack to the east of the entry. Since I really can't tell what the dimension is from the front door to the north wall there, I was wondering if they were going to be an issue, or is there enough room for those bike racks so that they're not sticking out into the sidewalk?
There's a blow-up detail on sheet SP3 that gives you a little bit better idea of dimensions, and we have the sidewalk going basically just for the bike racks, so they're out of the pathway from the parking lot to the building. It's detail 8 on SP3. They are out of the way, both away from the building so they can get around them if they need to, but then also they're out of the 5-foot sidewalk.
Okay, so you're showing that to be approximately 6 feet plus from that north wall to the north wall of the entrance?
Yes.
Okay, that's...
And it's landscaped now, but we're adding the sidewalk to basically encase the bike racks to get them out of the way.
I know we have something in our code as far as dimension away from an entry, but
Yes, I did see that.
since it's around the
and
corner,
I believe it was 50 feet within a door, and I know that I did meet the requirements that I looked up in the bike rack section.
okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Blanova.
Thank you. I have a question. You
Could you
mentioned...
lower your microphone?
Sure.
And louder.
Yeah, you mentioned you will be changing interior only one section. Can you show me that section?
Yes, on the floor plan, I'm not sure what page it is on yours, on the A1, it's basically anywhere where the customers are, so the dining area, the front service counter, and the restrooms and the vestibule will be completely all the new finishes. Anything from the service counter behind is existing to remain, and they don't do any work back there. And then the drive-through is getting a new window.
Got it. And the tables and,
All new furniture, yes, I'm sorry, all new furniture.
but same capacity, the same amount of, same tables, it's not going to
It's-
be less seating?
It is a
capacity?
few less because they do these kind of like home elements. They put in some big puff, not puffy, upholstered chairs with Wi-Fi and outlets. They do like a seating of 4 there. I think I included, if you have sheet ID-2, that's from our seating consultant. That shows you the amount of seating. It is definitely less than, because they have come to find out that they really don't fill the dining rooms anymore. The drive-throughs are being utilized, and it's very rarely packed in the dining room, so they give the dining room a little bit more space, and then just some fun elements with like bar height, seating, things like that. So there is less seating, yes.
Got it.
I don't know the exact amount. I do know the amount of the new seating, I just don't know what was there currently. 60, did you know?
I think you're proposing 66 seats right now. For the record, the special use for Burger King was approved with a maximum of 95 seats.
Oh, so it's not going to be a concern at all. Got it. That's all I have for right now.
Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you. Just following up on Commissioner Powers, and you may have said this, I might have heard, not caught it, but with the painting of the brick outside, is there any, with Burger King corporate, is there a policy for maintenance to like do a planned maintenance to check on it every 5 years?
Yes, there is a executive director of maintenance that does, and he has certain areas that he will go, and he does go out and check mainly the trash enclosure conditions, if the gates get broken, because we are putting new gates on this one. So they'll check the gates, the painting of the brick, the parking lot, and any bike rack issues that they're having. So they do it on a regular basis. How often, I don't know. I can find out for you.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. I don't know if there's been a history of buildings that have had paint issues, but
We haven't had any yet.
Yeah.
I do know that it is on their list of what to look for. That is
Great.
a top priority. I just don't know how often they check.
sure, because I mean, people get busy in the building.
I mean, a
and-
lot of these are dilapidated now that I don't
For
think
sure.
anyone looks at them. They have seemed to make a concerted effort once they remodel it. They want it to keep looking the same nice way. So hopefully they go out on a
Yeah.
regular basis and
Yeah.
do the upkeep.
It's to your advantage that it looks nice anyway, so. I was curious, I'm looking at page 47 and the flow of the parking lot, and I'm not an engineer, and maybe this is a code thing, but are the entrance and exit, is it entrance only and exit only?
No, we're doing both of these. It always depends on the area.
Okay.
This area, we didn't see any safety concerns, so both of them are entrance and exit.
Okay.
There's no locking of the doors or anything.
Because there was a drawing somewhere with arrows that, yeah, the arrows here didn't seem to make sense. It should have been the other way. Anyway.
Oh, are you talking about parking? I'm sorry, that you meant door entrances on the building.
So this drawing right here, coming in here, if the arrows are going, if you can only enter from the bottom one, and then the drive-through is coming out, like, if you imagine the cars are coming in, the drive-through's coming out, they're kind of, if it's only one way, but if it's both ways, if you can come in and out of both entrances.
You know what, I'm going to have to check on that because I don't know. I think we were going off of what was there now.
Because, I don't frequent that Burger King very often, so I need to, but the arrows, you're coming in, and then the drive-through is coming out. It seems like they're kind of coming right at each other if,
I will look and see if it
Okay.
can still be, the gentleman that did the survey marked that it was only in and then out, so we
Okay.
matched it, but if we definitely have the room, we've got a 25-foot aisle,
Right.
we can definitely do in and out. I just wasn't sure if the site warranted only in and out
okay.
being
I was just looking
separate.
at the flow and
Okay.
if it made sense.
I will
to me.
check.
So,
Do you
Oh, yeah.
want it to go both?
I would assume, is that,
Like I said, we were matching what was there now.
I
and
mean, it seems like there's enough room to do.
There
but
is
that would
enough
be-
room.
Would that be a little bit of a problem with traffic?
Commissioner Kalis, which driveway are you talking about?
So, just looking at this, so if you think about how the flow of the drive-through goes, you're going in the top and out the bottom of that horseshoe.
Right.
So if you're coming out and then if cars are coming in and they're going out, seems like they're just kind of coming at each other versus if it goes the other way, then it's all kind of flowing.
Because when you come out of the drive-through,
You should be able to go
we have it
straight out.
showing that you must go right and then make a left to get out of the parking lot. We can definitely look at changing that. I believe that's how it is now, but I'm not 100% sure.
And maybe that's just me misinterpreting the drawing, but I just,
No, that you're correct in the way that the arrows are going.
yeah. So just clarifying what that traffic pattern would be to make sure. I mean, I assume we'd have more crashes if it was a problem currently, but, so in the new plan, you're taking out the benches in the front, yes? Is that?
The outdoor seating, yes.
And what was, so I'm just thinking about the future of this area with the town center and the walkability, and you've got the bike racks, and it seems like it could be a nice area to sit outside. What was the reason for removing the seating outside?
It wasn't being used.
Okay.
Just the owner said, just let's do landscaping and
Okay.
clean it up. If you would like the outdoor seating, they definitely have their own package for outdoor seating. It can be added.
It's just, something to consider because the whole town center is kind of a
Right.
outdoor, family-friendly, walkable sort of area.
We've done it on a couple of them, so
Yeah.
there is a package for the outdoor seating. It's umbrellas and
Yeah.
stationary
I'm just-
seating.
Because if you're replacing it with landscaping, there's no reason to not have them there if nobody's sitting. I don't know, maybe it's I just envision this whole area as being kind of an outdoor, sitting around,
No, we can, it's definitely your call. If you want it added back in, we can make the landscape area that's shown on their sidewalk, concrete, and they can add their typical exterior seating. The owner, when he gives me the scope of work, he'll say remove or keep. He just said it's not
Yeah.
being used, get rid of it, but, this was on the old Burger King, so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know is that a consensus thing if we want to, I don't know if anyone else thought about keeping the seating available.
Keeping the outdoor seating?
Just, that's kind of the MO of the whole area, right? I mean,
We can bring that up. Okay. All right. Anything else, sir?
that's it for me, thank you.
Okay. So, Brooke, if you can go back to the outside, the view that's got where all of the materials are at.
The elevation?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the elevation. I call it where all the materials are at. Okay, that's cool. So, on this right here, and I think do they have a mouse up there?
Yes.
Can you show me where the brick is at and where it's going to be painted?
Are you referring to the fiber panel being added, or just the existing brick in general?
You said that, there's existing brick that's going to be painted, and that this is going to be added and painted, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So existing brick,
Existing brick, let's talk, elevation number 2, the north elevation. That's all existing brick underneath, what's the height on that one? 9 feet 7 and below, that's all existing brick. What they do is they take I believe we're showing 3'2", they'll strike a line. 3'2" and below will be the dark, and then above that will be the light color.
Can you show us with the mouse, possibly?
Oh, I have.
Or should we look
I
at
didn't know
the
I had that
current
control.
picture of what it looks like versus?
now let's stay with this. So,
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, sorry. So right here,
yeah,
this is all existing brick. The lower portion gets painted the darker Monterey Cliffs, and then from this point up to here is the lighter color, which is, no, it's the Tanner's taupe. It's not that material, but the big sample, yes. It's that color, but it's just not that finish. And then from, where did I go? From this part up is that actual material, the big sample, and the same color. So the only dark part of the building is this lower half where there's existing brick. So, and then like on this elevation by the drive-through, it's from here to here, it's all existing brick. The bottom is dark. The lighter portion is the lighter color.
and where you have your mouse right now,
Yes.
It's existing,
that's existing brick,
It's existing brick.
yes.
and it's going to be painted.
Yes, the light color.
Okay. Wow. And that's basically around, that's virtually around the whole,
Correct. The
Building.
same line is followed all the way around.
okay. So, right where, on the north elevation, right to the right of the entrance, where underneath where it says flame grilling single since 1954.
This entire area,
Yeah.
since it was existing wood siding, diagonal wood siding, it is, sorry, I keep going, where's it going? This entire area here, like this upside down or sideways L, is the material of the big sample that you have.
This one.
Yes, and it's that color. And then we come in with the brick sample that I gave you, the grayish. That is all 2 feet above, and then all this area here is that material, and then it's painted the dark color. And I'm trying to think if there was, if we did that on this location. The location of some of the remodels, it's basically matching this. That's the only area where the dark color goes up higher than 3'2" is this area under the
Okay.
awning.
So then, this right here. Where is, you said it's,
It's the lower portion, the 3'2" and below, so like all along
so
here.
this is the color that it's going to be painted, the brick is going to be painted.
Correct.
Got it, okay, okay.
And that color is also going to be painted on the brick sample that I provided.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you that I agree with Commissioner Powers and Commissioner Kalis that painting brick, and in addition, as you well know, if you don't know, this is the entrance to our Wheeling Town Center, right there. I mean, you're at a prime spot for our Wheeling Town Center as people come in and see this. And to have painted brick that is going to require maintenance more often probably than not, I am not a real big fan of that. And I would much prefer to see actual non-painted brick, at least from the base to whatever that was, 3'2" or whatever, that you're going to be painting. And then looking at the north elevation, where you said this is actual brick right now that's going to be painted, I actually don't want to see any painted brick on this building. We have spent a lot of time on our Wheeling Town Center, and to have that, you know, the overall design of the building is nice. I've seen one, there's one, I believe, in Rolling Meadows on Algonquin. I don't know if you did that one.
That one is, yeah, we just finished that one.
Yeah, Algonquin and, is it Wilkie? Yeah, and looks nice from far away, but to have this painted brick is just, and I will take a consensus here, but that's not what I'd like to see in this building that is coming, that is right at our Wheeling Town Center. Because everything else here, your landscaping is good, but the painted brick just does not make sense to me. So we'll talk about that too. The mechanicals. So if we go back to the actual picture, Brooke, can we go back to the actual picture? Of the overhead, yeah, right, the existing, right. Boom, boom.
Which photo?
The next one.
47,
Where it shows the
have-
whole site.
47.
No, it's 47 on ours.
I don't believe I have that one.
Yeah, you did. We had, oh, you know something? I'm sorry. I was looking at my iPad. That's right. I was looking at my iPad. So there's a whole bunch of mechanicals on there. How will they be shielded? Is there a parapet that will shield the mechanicals?
Do you want it shielded more than it is now? We basically match the same height that's there now with.
Okay.
And then the towers actually go even farther
No,
above that?
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that they are shielded.
They keep the same height, and then the towers extend up past that, so they shield them even more.
So Did the fire department say anything about that? I don't believe they
No.
did. I mean, might want to check with them to make sure that that's, I mean, that they're.
They will review these.
Yeah,
department.
I'm sure they will. Okay, all right. And then, wait, where are my notes here? So the other comment that I wanted to make is you're going to be painting the light standards. And I'm not certain how many there are, but, and I know that you will have nothing to do with, you're not related to the Wheeling Town Center, though this store gains the benefits of the Wheeling Town Center being there when it's open. You get all of the benefits of having people coming in, and it's a plus. I would like you to look into the light standards that you have there, possibly closely matching what we're going to have in the Wheeling Town Center.
Okay.
I'd like to have that reviewed. Because then it makes there's some continuity there. And granted, I know they're unrelated, and, but I would like you to investigate that if you could. I'd appreciate that. And just as an aside, did you see, Ms. Willie, that we're tabling the signage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Proposal did that one. Painted brick, I had that one. And I assume your landscaper reviewed our minimum standards for sizes of plants?
Yes.
Okay. And we're taking down is it the viburnums, is that what I read, that are along Dundee Road? Yeah, is that? Four existing, pine trees, those pine trees, along Dundee Road, which block the visibility of the building and are in fair condition, will be removed. Existing river birch tree, which is dying along, located. So how are we replacing those? We're putting additional landscaping in those areas? Because you're right, those trees aren't very nice.
Yeah, they're a lot, the landscaper visited the site and just noted that they need to come out. They're just, one, they block it, that's not his top concern, but he did say they were they're not in the best condition. I haven't reviewed his landscape plan too much, but I do know that he read the code, followed the code. I know he's adding, I know in between the drive-through lane and the parking lot by the trash enclosure, there's really nothing now, and he added several items there. I believe this is a new tree. And keeping the trees in front of the ADA parking stalls. And then there's some shrubs around the monument sign, and I believe he's leaving those. He said those are in good condition, but then adding landscaping following the parking.
And irrigation?
They were just going to use the hose bibs that are there now and possibly add a third hose bib that's there now.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They were just going to use the hose bibs that are on the building
Hose
with the
bibs.
hoses and water them themselves unless you required a irrigation system.
It's at our discretion, correct? Irrigation?
Yes.
Okay. Surprised there wasn't mentioned. I just wanted to make sure. I always get confused at there's so much to remember, and thank you for that. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. So is this, are these corporate directives that the Burger Kings have to upgrade?
Yes.
That's what it is.
It comes down from corporate and then the franchisees. So on this particular one, it's Tri-City Foods. We do almost all of their remodels. They have to, certain elements that they have to do, but then certain items of what needs to be replaced is at the discretion of the franchisee. And then when we go out to the site, we'll tell them, needs a new parking lot, it needs a new trash enclosure, or needs new gates, and they kind of let us tell them, but the actual appearance of it comes directly from Burger King corporate.
Okay. So Tri-City, how many Burger Kings, how many Burger Kings do they have in the area?
Hundreds. I don't know the number off the top of my head. We've been doing remodels since 2012, and we do 25 to 30 a year, so. And we have up through 2021, we've got another 30 a year up until 2021. And then they'll go and they'll expand even more.
Good steady business. Wow. Okay.
Tri-City Foods, although it's a great franchisee, they're very tight with their money. That's why a lot of these renovations, they kind of do the bare bones. We'll go out there and tell them, okay, but this really needs to be replaced. The employees sometimes don't understand why they don't touch the kitchen, but it's a matter of money. So they do what they can to the customer areas, and the back of the house sometimes has to wait for the next year.
Sure.
And then they'll go back and they'll renovate the back, so.
So the renovation in the inside and the seating area is a complete gut?
Yes, new
Down
tile,
to
new
new
wall.
tiles,
Yes.
everything?
Yeah, and then the seating elements, sometimes they add these little screens. They do put in TVs, outlets for the customers to use to charge phones or whatever. They really want to kind of create an atmosphere of kind of like a Starbucks, staying there for a little bit, not just eating, but using the Wi-Fi, charging your phones, things like that. It doesn't always happen. I mean, I go back and do ADA surveys on these locations, and the dining rooms are bare. The drive-through is what's used. So I do understand why they decrease the seating, but it's just a shame because they spend all this money on the inside and then there's like 4 people. So it just depends on the area too. I mean.
But to, Commissioner Kalis mentioned, that it is a walking area. We've got an apartment complex in Wheeling Town Center. We've got one that's being built just to the north across the street, and behind the new one that's being built is a huge apartment complex right now that is existing, that those are all walkable to the restaurant. If it's done right, this restaurant will greatly benefit from the activities that are going on in our village. So with that, does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I do too.
Okay, so Commissioner Powers.
So I guess I want to know, are you aware of the traffic routing and how it affects your facility? I guess I'm questioning, did you say that both driveways you have are going to be both in and out?
We're going to go back and we'll look at what's there now. Like I said, I was going off of the gentleman that did the site plan, said
Right.
this is the flow that it is now. I need to make sure
Right.
that that's,
I guess the reason I'm asking is because with the town center, there was, with the out to to northbound out to westbound Dundee, I think there was a double left turn lane plan possibly, and the exit, if the northbound entrance, you're going to allow to turn left, I don't know how many people are going to be able to turn left if there's a double left turn. I'm just saying maybe the northbound should be a right-in only. I don't know. I'm just a little bit confused because Commissioner Kalis raised it about the traffic flow and how that's going to work, because I think most of the people, a lot of the people could come in, you know, at the south entrance. I don't know, I'm just
So
throwing out ideas.
I guess what would be prudent with you is to, and granted, I mean, this is your property and you can do as you please here, but would it be appropriate to ask them to have you review what's going to happen at Wheeling Town Center so they possibly know as they're doing an evaluation of this?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you work with Brooke and see what's going to be occurring in the Wheeling Town Center from traffic flow, that would help you greatly.
Okay.
And that's it. Thank you.
Brooke, wasn't there
Commissioner
actually
Johnson.
plans for a raised curb by that double left turn?
Yeah, that's true.
Which means they couldn't come left out of the north driveway?
I think you're right.
So, yeah, I think
I
that
think
gets.
it was the raised
Yeah,
curb.
it could be, and I think that gets back to, you know, getting more detail from
Right.
Brooke on that and staff.
Because, I know the town center folks had some ideas just off of the Burger King property.
You can see here that it was configured to allow Burger King flexibility here.
Can you point that out?
Because this extra
If you could.
lane
Thank you.
here is provided so that someone can turn right out of here as well.
And that vertical line that your cursor's on right now, that's their property line? Burger King's property line?
Yes, this is the shared property line between the town center and Burger King.
So that access, that lane there, are we putting that in as Wheeling Town Center? That lane there?
We're not, Wheeling Town Center is not touching Burger King's property.
Right.
Except perhaps with a construction easement.
Right, okay.
But no improvements will be made to the Burger King property by the Wheeling Town Center.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. When the vertical line, I thought that was the lot line.
Yes,
That is. So to
This
the
is.
right of that,
Wheeling Town Center.
that little drive there.
this drive will be installed per the Wheeling Town Center plan.
That's, okay.
Okay, so they will have access across to get to the
Oh, I
south
see.
exit.
Yeah.
So so is that an extension of like the sidewalk area that's there now, where that bump out is?
No, you see the sidewalk there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess there's,
I think if you work with Brooke to get a
Yeah.
better understanding of
Yeah,
that,
if I
that would
could
be.
input that into our site plan, that would probably make sense.
And then
We can
another thing, the curbing by the drive-through, as you come out of the drive-through chute, has a little bend in it that sort of implies you should go to the north drive, I think.
That's existing and they just kept it. And again, I believe that that might be why it is striped the way it is, that it's an in and an out. That curbing is all existing to remain, and it does the sign that I believe that is on that little peninsula is I believe it says right turn lane, or right turn only.
Yeah, it might say drive-through or something like that, but, I mean, just visually, when you're coming out of there, it kind of hints that you should be turning towards the left.
correct, yeah.
And if there's anything they can do with that to,
Yeah, we can make it straight.
okay. I too would like to see you keep some sort of outdoor seating. If we don't have
But
to take a
I'm
poll on
going
that.
to, it's going to be one of our censuses.
And then, just to clarify, why are we tabling the signage?
It's not code.
Based on what, Brooke?
The
size?
primary wall signs are cabinet signs. The circular,
Which they are now.
and they're not permitted. So they're existing and legal, non-conforming because they're existing. But if they want to put up new signs,
Well, how is that different than others that have been approved, like Dunkin' Donuts? Theirs is a cabinet sign too, it's just a shape.
they were not approved for a cabinet sign.
Oh. So, okay. That's all, sir.
Thank you. So, I heard a number of things here, and I'd like to take a poll on them. And Commissioner Creech, you mentioned if we could go back to, and by the way, these were very good plans, and the level of detail is, we like this, that we can go, and that one where you had all of the diagrams for the fencing and the bike racks, that is exactly what we're looking for. So could you go back to that one that had the bike racks and the fence?
I'm not sure I have that one. Sorry.
I thought you did.
No,
I think it's SP2.
3?
sorry. I
Three?
did not include that in the slideshow.
Oh,
Okay, so let me find it on mine.
what page of the packet? Everybody's got it.
SP. Oh, wait, let me go this way. It's easier. Actually, I found it too. This way is a little bit easier to do. Okay, so on the fencing, we have here steel post, master post, which is great. But as we said, this is like a, is this considered a board on board?
Shadow box.
That's a shadow box. Okay, so are we, because I want to take a poll on it, are we looking for a board on board?
What is a shadow box? I'm sorry.
Alternate?
They're alternate on either side.
Yeah.
Rather
So-
than on top of
Oh,
each
I
other.
see. Okay,
You see the rails like every other
Right.
board.
okay. Thank you.
So, is this, so I get, first question I have, wait, before I take that, Commissioner Creech, you mentioned that to beef this up a little bit, making the rails 2x6s.
2x6 instead of 2x4, and then the 1x is actually 5/4, so that would be 1 1/4 or 1 1/8 rather than just 3/4 of an inch
Okay,
board.
well, right now, they're 1x6s.
Yeah, which
It's
means
actually
they're 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd be 1 3/4.
No, inch and 1/4.
So we're,
5 quarters.
yeah, 5/4, so 1 1/4 would be, wow. Okay, so I like the idea of the beefed up rails. So let's break up this fence a little bit here. So from a cedar perspective, are we, would we like to see a cedar fence? Well, actually, it's not mentioned here, so we could define it as, because all it says is a wood fence. So cedar, Commissioner Johnson, you okay with that?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanova?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yep.
Powers, Commissioner Kalis?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech? Yes,
Cedar,
great.
correct?
Yes, cedar, right.
Thank you.
Then the rails going up to 2x6s. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanova?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers?
Yes.
Creech?
Yes,
And Kalis?
Yes.
Okay, and then, so now what are we looking at here? Is the shadow box okay, or are we looking at, would we like just a board on board?
And board on board is just double-sided, right?
Not double-sided, it's just one side, so you would see, in this case, you would see the rails to the inside, because normally the outside is to the other owners, you know, when we put up fences, you always have the
Right.
crummy stuff on the inside. Why? I don't know why that happens, but You always have the bad stuff on the inside.
Well,
So-
this design, the board, this shadow box gives you the same look from both directions.
Yeah.
And then you're also able to cover up the metal support rails. So this actually is a nice design for this system.
I think so, too. So leave the existing shadow box?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanova, we get a nod down here? Yes, okay, great. And then the actual boards, should we go to 5/4 by 6 or leave it 1 by 6s? Commissioner Johnson?
As long as we're beefing up the rails, it's beef up the
Okay,
fence boards.
all right. And then Commissioner Blanova?
I agree.
Okay, you gotta bring that down.
Sorry, yeah, I agree.
We're gonna make it a rubber band.
Yeah.
Commissioner Powers?
I agree, I worry about the snow, definitely.
Commissioner Kalis?
Yes.
And Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
obviously, right. Okay. So the question of outdoor seating, where, if we asked for that, where would it go?
Where it is now. Right in front of, to the right of the main entry. That's where it is now. But it's like a pebble effect sidewalk that we're replacing that, the reason for all the new sidewalk is because of what's there now. It's an old-fashioned pebble concrete effect.
Yeah, I was going to clarify that maybe people
And
don't see.
the seating itself is also the nice, comfortable concrete.
I was imagining maybe that's why people don't sit there.
Yeah.
If it could be updated, obviously, to match
Yeah.
the nice design you have. for
Yeah,
yourself.
they do have their own, like I said, patio package that has, it's basically an
So,
U-shaped furniture with umbrellas.
all right. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to see outdoor seating?
Yes, I would like to see it kept in.
Commissioner Blanova?
Me too.
Commissioner Powers?
I believe so, yep.
Commissioner Kalis, obviously, you said yes, unless you say no right now.
I say yes.
And Commissioner Creech?
They can always add it later, so I would say no.
Unfortunately, there's already 4 that said yes. And I agree with you. It's something that is not used right now, but could easily be added. But if the consensus is that, that's why.
You know, I could change my mind too. I guess that's okay. I mean, if it could be added later, that's a possibility. If it's not being used,
What
probably
would,
makes more sense. I
so
don't know.
I've never been, what are the terms of that, like later?
Any change that the petitioner wishes to make in the future, all they have to do is come back for
A minor site plan?
minor site plan
Minor
change.
site plan.
So the decision can be made now if you'd like to require them to install the outdoor seating, or you could approve it as is proposed, and if they so choose to have outdoor seating in the future, they can come back for a minor site plan change.
I'll say no.
Okay,
No seating.
all right, so we're going to leave it as it is. I didn't mean influence you, but I just think it can be changed later. And,
Well, may I ask a question on that?
yes,
For it to be added later, I do know that if it's something that you're going to want to see in the future, they'd rather pour the concrete when they pour all the new sidewalk than put the landscaping and the sod in and then just tear it up in,
okay.
a couple of years.
They would if they were about to say, we don't have to provide that now, it would only be at your discretion.
Okay, that's what I
To
was-
proceed.
Right.
To make that change in the future.
Yes.
Okay.
Your discretion, right. Okay.
Sorry.
No, please. Irrigation. It's at our discretion on something like this to add the irrigation, a full irrigation system that, instead of using hoses throughout here. We have asked, just had a developer come in and we asked them, they were going to just use water and water the things. And again, my concern is that, well, I won't say anything more, but again, it's the entrance to our Wheeling Town Center. So with that said, Commissioner Creech, full irrigation system,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalis,
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Powers.
Yes.
And so, Commissioner Blanova
Yes.
and Commissioner Johnson.
I would say no, it's not a whole new building.
Okay.
You know, that's,
Well, but we have them here and it's an opportunity. Yeah.
I understand, but.
Yeah. So, but with that said, and this is some of the clarifications that I'm getting as my sage years here, what would we expect irrigated?
I'd say at least the planting beds. And,
Around the building?
yeah, I would like to see that.
So not the islands?
That's a tough one. It's probably even hard. If they at least
Yeah.
did around the building, that would be okay. I don't know.
Is everyone
Islands
okay
would be
with
a tough
around the
one.
building,
I'm okay with them.
the planting beds?
Well, he's got new planting beds by the drive-through too.
They're tearing up the driveway.
Do you have the landscape plan?
In there, Brooke? I keep on wanting to do this and I can't, so.
Wow, it's quite an area. Ew, boy.
It's the entrance of our town. so-
Yep, I agree. At least the planting beds for me. I don't know.
So the little half-inch plastic tube.
Yep.
So you mean all planting beds, including islands?
Yes.
I would think, I would say, yeah, that's my preference.
When you say island, what is, can you?
So it's on L1, if you could point out the islands, Brooke?
So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
here,
Yep.
here, you're talking about also putting irrigation along this hedge row, is that right? So basically everywhere there are flowers or shrubs, right? Not the lawn, is that correct?
No.
No, I'm okay with it.
No, we're probably going to end up doing the lawn.
Yeah. The islands are always tough.
Right.
I would exclude the islands. But everything else. Yep. So, are we in consensus on that?
I can agree with that.
Brooke, so,
Maybe if they came back, they could show us by shading what
Yeah, we
the
need to.
anticipated irrigation areas are.
Are they going to come back with an irrigation plan?
well, I think we have a couple of things that need to be resolved, so probably, but yes, and I think if you discuss the irrigation, what we're talking about with Brooke, that would probably be very beneficial to staff. And then the last item that I have for consensus or a poll is the brick work, the painting of the brick. So the options there are to, what is it, up to 3.3
3
foot?
foot 2 is
3
the
foot
dark,
2?
yes.
Right, dark. So let's focus on that first, because that's all brick right now. Would the commission prefer painted or actually replacing the brick with a like color. That's the bottom, right? The 3'2"?
The lower part, yes.
Lower part, okay.
And that material is not manufactured in a darker color?
The brick
Yeah.
sample, it comes that color. And then they either leave it exposed or they paint it. This,
Oh, that.
So do they actually paint it or do they stain it?
I believe it's spray applied. It's
But
the-
it's two
the-
different products.
The
Because I
bigger,
know
ma-
that they've been staining brick now, not necessarily painting it like we used to back in the day.
it's not, I do know it's not stained. We have had to call for it to be stained before, but then in Shorewood, we actually ended up just taking that exposed brick element and just put that everywhere on the building and not worry about stain, because they wanted it stained versus painted. So it can be done either. Their first choice, obviously, is the painting.
But painting it paints the mortar joint and everything,
Correct, it's
so,
all one color.
Well, that's how it is now.
yeah.
But if
We-
you're staining, it actually penetrates. So it doesn't peel like paint does. So that's kind of why they're doing staining now. So I guess my next point would be, if we have a problem with the brick, then could they possibly cover all the brick with the new hardy board? And then just go over a new product like they're doing everywhere else?
I think that's a good question, because I had the same thing. I mean, can something be put over the existing brick possibly? It would make it look better. Are we talking about putting brick there, some cement panel, adhere it to, I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't know.
I do know that because the brick is painted already on the building, I'll use Shorewood for an example. They didn't want, they weren't fond of the color scheme for some reason. So we took the brick sample that's there, we left it unpainted, we put that everywhere along the bottom and up under the canopy. And then we took the big taupe light color panel and brought that all the way down over the brick. There was basically no existing brick left on the Shorewood location. It's, like I said, it's painted now, and I know that they won't want to keep it. It doesn't match the current scheme. So there's several different things we can do if you don't want the painted brick. Like I said, with Naperville, we left it what was there. Sometimes it was a rust color, sometimes it was a light color. Shorewood, we took that brick element and used that unpainted, and then took the Nichiha panel and brought it all the way down to the wainscot area. So it just depends on, it all goes over the existing brick. They have these clips that get penetrated through the existing face brick, and they hang it from that.
I think as a commission, I think we'd like to see some other options.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. And Brooke, do you have a good sense of what we're looking, well, I guess if we say other options, other than painting the brick is what we're looking for?
Okay.
Okay? Is that a good way to put it, Brooke?
Or provide alternatives
Right,
to
yeah.
painted brick.
Right, yeah.
And do you just mean the existing brick that's painted, or do you want an alternative to this fiber cement
Well, so-
panel that would be painted?
Probably both. So if we could go, I'm sorry, when you're done typing, if you could go back to the site elevation, you just went by it. Keep right there. So, again, here, you've got north elevation. Keep going to the right, my right. So up in between there, you said this is brick and it's going to be painted.
It's
Right.
currently brick and, it's
So-
currently painted brick, and we are just gonna, our plan was to just repaint it,
So why
the new
couldn't,
colors.
you're going to repaint it with this color, right?
The top, and then the lower half is
Yeah.
the darker,
So why
yes.
couldn't you just remove that brick and put this on
They'll leave the existing brick,
and put it on?
and they'll put that, they can bring that down as an option, or they can put the
I mean,
brick
I think
sample
that
up
would be,
higher.
I
We've
think that
done,
would be, I think for that area, that would be a better option. My concern is the lower, the 3.2, you know, the 3.2 feet going. I'd like to see some other options there.
And what you just described there with mounting that panel that the chairman showed over there on top of that brick above the 3'2", is that's what you said you did in Shorewood?
yes, we did a couple of different things in Shorewood. The elevation, the north elevation, we used the brick sample, and we put that everywhere from top of storefront all the way across, because they realized that they didn't want the Nichiha that low, the taupe color. So I can definitely take some pictures of the Shorewood location
Perfect.
and send that to you.
That's exactly
and
what look for. That would be helpful for me.
It really will just come down to how much of the two different materials you want. Do you want more brick, or do you want more of the flat panels?
The store in Rolling Meadows, do you recall what they had?
It's the painted brick. It's our typical
Okay.
remodel. And we could keep it, the brick that it is now, but this particular location, it's old, the paint's gross.
Yeah, well, we definitely don't want that kept. We definitely don't want it kept there.
Excuse me, what kind of preparation did you do prior to, did you sandblast the old paint off?
When they repaint,
Yes.
yes, it gets sandblasted off first.
Okay, so you're basically going down to almost a raw brick
Correct.
and then repainting.
Yes,
Okay, well, that's a big difference than going over what's existing, because what's existing, there's layers and layers, of course, and that's what's going to cause the chipping. If they completely sandblast that off and then paint it, then, you're totally eliminating a lot of this,
Except
I mean,
that
I don't
it's,
know.
except that it's still painted. And
True.
Yeah, it's still painted,
True.
right.
But they're putting up painted cement panels too, so,
Well, some though, well, you mean this?
yes.
that
Well,
comes
but-
from the factory
But see,
already.
this comes from the factory.
And then you
And
paint
it's-
over it?
No.
No, it comes, it comes
That's
like
it,
that.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a tad bit different, it's probably somehow injected or something.
And then we would not paint the brick
Right.
sample that's there. That would also
Okay, so
be the
that's
color
the
that it is.
finished
Yes.
paint on that?
Yes.
Or stain, or whatever it is.
So, okay. So we have a number of things. I think we need to continue this. Do we continue? Yes.
It would just be tabled.
Tabled.
It's not a
I'm
public
sorry,
hearing.
it's not a public, yeah, again. So we'd like to table this so you can come back with more
Okay.
information, and maybe when you come back, your signage would be done. So, do we need a motion for tabling?
Motion to table.
Hold on one second.
I would do a motion to table to make it clear.
Okay. But let Brooke finish, and then maybe you could read off that
Yeah.
information, Brooke. 25 a year you do of these things.
Yes. Yeah, they start to blend after a while.
Two a
I'm
month.
at the end. I've got 5 more this year, and then I can start the 2018s. So I'm actually slow right now.
So you're doing this, you're just doing this like full-time, hopping from village to
At Warren
village?
Johnson, I'm strictly Burger King right now. When I started, that's what I was doing, and it's been all I've been doing. The surveys are fun. So table until the next, if I can make the next plan commission meeting with all the changes? Is that how it works, or?
1 second.
Okay.
I'm just trying to write all the recommendations thus far.
And I did a search for Burger King building pictures. There's a lot of variations out there.
Yeah, they used to do, actually, when I started, it was the towers used to be black,
Yeah,
And they
I saw
changed
some of
them.
those.
Literally mid-year, they went to the cedar, and so you'll see some that are black, you'll see some that are the cedar. The sign used to say Home of the Whopper, now they're going to flame grilling. Lots of internal changes we try to keep up with.
I'm glad to hear at least your you have some flexibility, which is
Yeah,
good.
we've done, like I said, the Munster, Indiana one, it was a nightmare only because we were having a hard time finding a product, but now that we have the product, we've used it 2 other times, so I can definitely take pictures of that one, show you that location. And then the Shorewood one actually turned out nice. I just need photos of it, so I'll get you those.
Okay. I have, the fence shall be made of cedar, the fence rails shall be 2-inch by 6-inch, and the fence vertical boards shall be 5/4 inch thick. Irrigate plantings excluding islands, provide an irrigation plan. Provide alternatives to painting existing brick and painting new fiber cement brick panels. Consider the Wheeling Town Center plan to verify safe access in and out of the subject property, and I will provide you a plan tomorrow.
Thank you.
And reconsider vehicle access out of the drive-through, so that configuration of the turning radius and signage and whatnot. Anything else?
The light poles,
Light poles.
consider that.
Consider,
How does that work with, I just,
I guess.
know the owner, and I know I'll go back and say they want new light poles, and they'll say no. So I just, in order to cut out with trying to get this one
So-
done,
So I guess even before you go to him, go to the owners and say, this is the type of light pole that they're proposing in Wheeling
Okay.
Town Center.
Okay.
Show them what it is. and
okay.
Go from there.
Is that a spec that, Brooke, you have, or?
yes.
Okay.
So,
So consider installing new light poles that would complement the town center?
yes, that's a great,
Okay.
yes, exactly. Thank you, Don. I'm looking at one here that the brick accent on 3 feet 2 down is just absolutely beautiful. And that is really, really nice. And I don't know where this is at. Okay.
I don't know which one you're looking at.
So, here, if I can show this to you. Sure. And then I will share it. I mean, that,
That's actually one of the older remodels. There's one similar to that in Montgomery, Illinois, it's actually the look where they left the canopies on the angle and they just went in with a new color, but that is an older
I was looking at
remodel.
the brickwork, I wasn't
Right,
looking at the style.
right.
Yeah, so,
Oh, okay, that.
so we're ready to, a motion to table.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. And then you can work with Brooke as far as the date goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll print something out for you that you have all of this
Okay,
information.
perfect. Thank you.
And you can,
It's heavy.
yeah, you can take these back. And thank you for bringing these in.
I wish it wasn't raining, but.
Do we need
It's done raining.
do we need to sign these? Yeah, well, we could, just so. So they know we actually reviewed them. Here you go. That's for you. You can have that. It's got everything in it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Tracy, you can call me tomorrow and we can talk about the resubmittal application. You're welcome.
approval of the minutes for July 27th, 2017, including the findings for docket number 2017-6. And Commissioner Creech brought up something we were talking before the meeting. You just have here 2017-6. Do we have to also mention that it's PC 1712 and SCBA 1729?
No, because the findings are particularly for the public hearing
Public hearing.
docket, which is 2017-6.
Thank you for that clarification. Good. So I do have,
So moved.
I have one more item.
Yes.
On page 11, paragraph 1, line 4 refers to Mr. Creech. I believe it should be Mr. Hoffman.
page 11, which paragraph?
Paragraph 1,
Yep.
4th line.
Mr. Creech explained the 5-unit buildings we're building to a spec package.
That should be Mr. Hoffman.
Okay.
That wasn't
Did you work overtime that day?
Right here. Facts and findings. Well,
Maybe
Yeah,
it looked like Mr.
I got
Hoffman.
a different page 11.
Is it the findings?
It's the facts and findings,
Okay.
yeah. So. Our
Can
question-
you read this sentence, please?
Mr. Creech explained 5-unit. Right here.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Yeah, we found it.
Thank-
Okay. I will make that change in these minutes.
Yep.
Again, so moved with the
The
changes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Other business, Brooke?
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson?
Brooke, just a question on this little street signs that Dundee Dogs puts out. There's like 2 on Dundee, there's 1 on Elmhurst Road. Are they,
They're illegal,
okay,
and we are working with them on compliance.
thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Blanova?
I have nothing, thank you.
Oh, I have nothing, thank you.
There you go. Commissioner Powers?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Kalis?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Creech?
I have nothing tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
And Mallory, anything?
Nothing, thank you.
All righty. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Mallory.